Think about a night when you felt unusually inspired. Maybe you were watching something uplifting, or you saw someone achieve something impressive, or you simply paused for a moment and imagined a better version of your life. In those moments, everything feels clear. You tell yourself that tomorrow will be different. You will wake up on time, eat better, study harder, start that routine, or finally take action on something you've been postponing. This version of you feels strong, committed, almost unstoppable. And yet, when the next morning arrives, that entire wave of motivation quietly disappears. You wake up groggy, your environment feels the same, your energy feels different, and the version of you that existed last night seems far away. You wonder how you could feel so motivated a few hours ago and so disconnected now. This shift feels frustrating, confusing, and sometimes discouraging. But the truth is surprisingly comforting. Nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is designed to work exactly like this. Once you understand the science behind motivation, why it rises suddenly, why it disappears quickly, and how you can function independently of it, you unlock a completely different way of approaching your goals. Let's walk through this journey slowly, naturally, and in a way that makes everything feel easier. Motivation begins in the imagination long before it turns into action. When you picture a better life, a healthier body, a more successful career, a calmer mind, a cleaner home, a more disciplined routine, your brain releases dopamine. This chemical is often misunderstood. Dopamine is not released when you achieve a goal. It is released when you think about achieving it. It's anticipation, not accomplishment, that produces that internal rush. This is why planning feels so good. Writing a schedule, imagining progress, or setting goals makes you feel productive even if you haven't done anything yet. Your brain rewards the dream with a burst of energy because it expects that something good may happen. However, the moment you shift from imagining a goal to actually working toward it, dopamine begins to drop. The excitement fades, and suddenly the task feels heavier, slower, and more tedious than it seemed the night before. The brain loves possibility. It struggles with process. That's the first major secret. Motivation peaks during anticipation, not during execution. And that shift explains why your morning feels completely different from your night. But there's another layer that plays an even larger role. The human brain is built for short-term survival, not long-term achievement. For most of human history, life revolved around immediate tasks: finding food, staying safe, dealing with weather, or responding to threats. Everything happened on short timelines. The reward for action was immediate. Today, we chase goals that take months or years. Losing weight, building a business, learning a skill, studying for exams, saving money, improving mental health. These goals are long, slow, and uncertain. The brain cannot see the reward clearly, so the motivation to pursue it fades quickly. So when you feel an intense burst of motivation at night and almost none of it the next morning, it isn't because you're weak. It's because your brain is biologically wired to prefer quick rewards over long-term effort. There is also something important about emotional state. Motivation depends on your physical and mental condition at the moment you feel it. If last night you were relaxed, hopeful, and uninterrupted, your brain was open to imagining new possibilities. But the next morning, as soon as tiredness, stress, noise, and responsibilities enter the picture, your emotional landscape changes. Your motivation collapses not because your dreams changed, but because your internal environment did. And then comes another psychological pattern many people don't realize they fall into: the addiction to starting. Most people assume they love achieving goals, but in reality, people are far more addicted to starting new goals than finishing old ones. The beginning of any habit or project feels exciting, fresh, and full of potential. It gives a strong dopamine rise. New beginnings feel like transformation. They give you the sense that your life is moving forward, even if it's just in your imagination. However, once the novelty fades and the repetition begins, day 4, day 7, day 12, dopamine levels stabilize. The activity feels normal, sometimes boring, and definitely less thrilling than it did at first. At that point, the brain begins to negotiate. You start to think of excuses, delays, or reasons to postpone. Not because you don't care, but because your brain is craving the excitement of a new beginning again. This cycle repeats endlessly: inspiration, beginning, drop in dopamine, loss of motivation, new beginning. You feel stuck not because you lack willpower, but because no one taught you how to break this neurological loop. So the question becomes, if motivation is so inconsistent, how do people stay disciplined for long periods? How do some individuals study consistently, maintain fitness routines, work steadily on projects, or make daily progress toward their goals? The answer is surprisingly simple. Consistent people don't depend on motivation at all. They rely on systems, structure, and identity. They don't wait to feel inspired. They build habits that continue even when they feel neutral or unmotivated. These people don't have superhuman willpower. They simply understand how the brain works. Imagine two versions of you. The first version waits for a good mood to begin. This version functions well when life aligns perfectly, when energy is high, when the environment is supportive, and when the emotional state is stable. But the moment something shifts, tiredness, stress, or a slight inconvenience, this version collapses. The second version doesn't rely on feelings. This version operates on small steps, environmental triggers, predictable routines, and identity-based habits. For this version, effort doesn't depend on fireworks. It depends on design. Even on low-energy days, this version can still show up because the structure is doing the heavy lifting. The goal is not to become the first version. It is to slowly build the second one. And it begins with something incredibly simple: shrinking your goals. The human brain resists tasks that feel overwhelming. When something looks big, tiring, or unfamiliar, the brain responds as if the task is a threat. It tries to protect you by generating hesitation, doubt, or avoidance. This is why you skip workouts, procrastinate studying, or postpone routines, not because they're unimportant, but because they feel heavy. When you shrink your goals into the smallest possible steps, your brain's resistance melts. Reading one page doesn't feel threatening. Studying for 5 minutes doesn't feel draining. Doing 2 minutes of movement doesn't feel intimidating. Cleaning one small corner doesn't feel impossible. Once the brain experiences a small win, it becomes more willing to continue. As you repeat these tiny steps, the pathway becomes familiar, safe, and eventually automatic. Consistency is not built through huge efforts. It's built through approachable, repeatable actions. Next comes the idea of giving yourself immediate rewards. Humans repeat behaviors that feel good, not those that feel important. If you want your brain to repeat a habit, the reward must come quickly. Something as simple as checking off a box on a list, taking a moment to relax, listening to music, or enjoying a warm shower after a workout can build a powerful association. Effort equals reward. Over time, your brain begins to look forward to the routine because it anticipates the reward. You are training your nervous system to enjoy progress rather than fear it. Then we step into the world of identity. This is, without exaggeration, one of the most powerful psychological tools available. Human behavior is deeply shaped by identity. If you believe you are someone who struggles, your actions will reflect that belief. If you believe you are someone who shows up, even in small ways, your actions will align accordingly. Instead of saying, "I want to read more," you shift to, "I am someone who reads." Instead of, "I need to exercise," you say, "I am someone who takes care of my body." Instead of "I must save money," you say, "I am someone who manages money responsibly." Identity changes behavior faster than motivation ever can. When a habit becomes part of who you are, you no longer negotiate with yourself every day. The decision becomes automatic. Environment is another silent but powerful force. In many cases, your surroundings determine your behavior before your conscious mind even gets involved. If your phone is within reach, you will use it. If junk food is visible, you will eat it. If your room is chaotic, your mind will feel scattered. If your workspace is messy, your brain will resist beginning anything. Small environmental changes create huge behavioral shifts. A clean desk increases focus. A visible book increases reading. Prepared workout clothes increase the likelihood of exercising. A tidy space increases the desire to maintain order. When your environment supports your goals, motivation becomes unnecessary. And then we come to energy. Motivation is directly tied to physical and mental energy. You cannot expect inspiration to appear when your body is tired, undernourished, overstimulated, or underrested. If you didn't sleep enough, if your diet fluctuates wildly, if you barely move during the day, or if you overwhelm your brain with constant scrolling, your motivation will naturally decline. Improving your energy, even in small ways, dramatically improves your willingness to take action. A short walk, morning sunlight, stable meals, hydration, deep rest, and mindful breaks all contribute to a brain that is more willing to cooperate. Motivation is not a mindset problem. Often it is simply a body problem. Now, even with the best systems, consistency will break from time to time. You will miss days, you will have stressful weeks. Something unexpected will throw your routine off, and that is entirely normal. The skill that separates consistent people from inconsistent people is not perfection. It is the ability to restart. Most people don't fail because they stop. They fail because they don't begin again. Restarting small is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. It rebuilds your identity. It reminds your brain that you are someone who returns to your goals even when life gets messy. A restart doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be a single page, a 5-minute session, a short walk, or a tiny step. Restarting with something small prevents your brain from falling into guilt, shame, or avoidance. It keeps your progress alive. So when you think about motivation, why it comes, why it disappears, and why you can't rely on it, remember this: motivation is not designed to carry you through long journeys. It is meant to give you a spark, a starting point, a brief moment of clarity. But after that spark fades, the structure you build will carry you forward. Your life changes not when you feel motivated, but when you learn how to move without motivation. And that movement comes from identity, environment, small steps, immediate rewards, and consistent energy. You don't need to wait for motivation to feel ready. You don't need to depend on it to take action. You don't need to feel inspired to begin. You simply need to begin, even in the smallest way. And then begin again the next day. And again after that. Over time, these small, steady steps will create the transformation you once hoped motivation would deliver. Eventually, you'll look back and realize that the change happened quietly, not from sudden bursts of inspiration, but from the gentle, consistent rhythm of showing up. That is the real science of motivation. You don't lose it because you are weak. You lose it because you are human. And humans succeed not by chasing motivation, but by learning to move forward even when it fades.